Once again, this is Present with Ease with Presenter Coach. And if you haven't heard of Presenter Coach, you are in for a treat this evening. So excited. I am Felisa Ford. As Emma said, I'm joining you from Atlanta, Georgia, and my amazing co-facilitator, presenter, Miss Emma is here with us. You just met her, and we are excited to be our dynamic duo today.
All right, everyone, I would like to recognize and acknowledge that you are probably likely joining and participating from one of our many traditional territory lands across Canada. I acknowledge that I am joining you today and hosting this session from the traditional land of the West Saanich people, a gorgeous coastal piece of land on the southern part of Vancouver Island, in which I am forever grateful to be a settler here, in which I'm able to teach, learn, and explore, and help Felisa share my passion of technology with you. So back to you, Felisa.
Thank you, Emma. Appreciate that. And this session is brought to you by the Cobblestone Collective. We are so happy to be able to represent the Cobblestone Collective, and they bring amazing workshops and co-taught lessons all across Canada, the United States, the globe, and we are happy to represent. Also, we would like to thank Microsoft for making this workshop possible for us, and so happy to be a Microsoft Education Global Training Partner. For today, this is our plan. I know it looks like it may be a lot, but trust me, we'll get through this with ease. We're going to bring you an overview of Presenter Coach. We're going to show you how to set it up. We're going to take a little time to explore, and then we're going to go over this awesome feedback report that's provided for you, and then share a few tips for how you can get your students set up with using Presenter Coach. So the first thing, though, before we get started, we want to make sure that everyone is aware of the Microsoft Educator Center. And Emma, if you want to talk about this, because I know you took the time to set this up.
Sure, I'll just start it. So if you go to this website, and I've just dropped the link in the chat there, it is incredible. In the top right-hand corner, if you log in with your Microsoft account, you can see the little thumbnail on the hippo there. But it's really important, redeem this achievement code, because Microsoft is going to hook you up with a ton of different digital badges, and the digital badges pertain specifically to the different training. There's also tons of courses, workshops, just a ton of professional development available to you. I'm going to drop the code again throughout the chat, but make sure you save that, write it down, go in there and get credit for this workshop and other Microsoft sessions that you do. So again, you go to this link in the top right-hand corner, you will log in. There's a little drop-down menu, and then click on Redeem Achievement Code and type that in. So that's the code that starts with the T there. So get credit for this course. You deserve it, and it's such a great session. So get recognized, Microsoft.
Yes. And there are so many other great courses in there, some of our favorite tech tools that we use. You may be able to do some on-demand training on your own. If you don't have a Microsoft account, you can easily set up one for free right here in the Education Center. So let's go ahead and get started with an overview and the benefits of Presenter Coach. So why are we even doing this? Well, one thing we know, some of us may have glossophobia, and if you don't know what that is, no worries. That's just the fear of speaking in public. And I know we have students that this may impact, especially students who are shy. Even some adults may have a fear of speaking in public. Some of these images may be familiar with us. This may have been us as students, but now Microsoft has an awesome tool that will help all of us become better speakers and to build that confidence that we may need to speak in public or present in public in front of our classes. So this is called Presenter Coach. And what is Presenter Coach? I am so glad you asked. It is a built-in feature in PowerPoint. You don't have to do anything, it's already there. And it helps you improve your presentation skills by allowing you to rehearse your presentation. And then it provides real-time feedback and suggestions. So Emma, I would love to hear from our educator friends who are with us today. How many of them think that this would be an amazing resource to have in the class? Really, it helps you expand your reach with your students when you have someone that can provide real-time feedback for your students as they practice on their presentation skills. Or even let me know if you've even heard of Presenter Coach. I would love to know who's in the room with us and what is your knowledge of Presenter Coach.
Yeah, let us know in the chat. I know, like, for me, my students, it's like kind of like cloning yourself. And so when they're at home doing their homework, that they have someone that can give you that feedback, because that's our job as educators. And unfortunately, sometimes there just isn't enough of us to go around. So Presenter Coach can give them that, direct feedback, how you're doing, what's working, maybe some things to work on. And I don't know about you, Felisa, but I sometimes have those students, I call it like presentation-itis, where they're like, I'm just going to strategically, have my dentist appointment this block. But Presenter Coach, that gives them that confidence where they can tackle these presentations.
Absolutely. And then some students don't like to even practice with their peers because they don't want their peers to see them maybe stumble over their presentation or mess up. So that's the beauty of Presenter Coach. They can do it in the privacy of their own home, in a quiet corner in your classroom. So we'll just keep going, but just think about that in ways that you could use Presenter Coach with your students. So some of the benefits of Presenter Coach, as Emma and I were just discussing, it helps to reduce that anxiety or that stress that some of us may get while we're presenting, or some of our students may get. With this, they don't have to worry about taking an unnecessary sick day. This can help build that confidence. And I know we're talking about students and how we can use this in the classroom, but Presenter Coach is great for everyone, for professionals, for teachers. If you have to do a presentation for the school-wide presentation, or even a presentation for your parents, it never hurts to practice. We can't get too much practice. So this is a great way for you to practice, even in your private life. If you have to do a speech, maybe at a wedding, or for our students that may have to do a graduation speech, this is a great resource that they can use to help them. It improves everyone's presentation skills, but most importantly, it empowers us, it empowers our students, and it helps build that confidence. And then it offers that real-time feedback that we can take and practice and hone our skills and just repeat and rinse and repeat. All right, so some of the feedback that presentation rehearse coach, presenter coach, and for those of you that don't know, it has been branded with a new name. It's also called Speaker Coach. So if you see Speaker Coach or Presenter Coach, just know it's referring to the same thing. The reason the name was changed to Speaker Coach is because it's now also available in Teams. It's rolling out in Teams. But some of the feedback that it provides, it works with you on your pace. If you're speaking in a monotone pitch, filler words, I know some of us will say and like and those types of things. It will give you real-time feedback on that. And even if we use sensitive words, but we'll get a chance to practice in just a minute. It also will tell us and our students if they're reading directly from the slides. It will tell them that to stop reading from the slides. This will be the originality piece of it. It also checks for bias. We want to make sure that in every way that we're being inclusive in our classrooms and the language and how we present our information. Also, there's a new feature in Presenter Coach on the web. It has the body language feature. So for those of us that like to use our hands, maybe a lot, it will give you feedback on that. And I love to use my hands as I present, but it also gives us information on repetitive language and even pronunciation, which is huge for our students. If they're not sure of a word, it can pronounce it for them. And I want you all to feel free to stop me at any time if you have questions. This is informal. We can ask questions. This is a workshop for all of us. So we're here to learn together. So just keep that in mind. Or if you want to put your questions in the chat, and Emma, feel free to stop me if there are any questions.
No, Felisa, you're doing great. I just, that is such a powerful list that you go over, and amazing that one tool in PowerPoint, but now in Teams as well, can cover all those things. I think as a teacher, how many times I've helped students pronounce a word, especially in Canada, the territorial lands, names of different places, like that is powerful. And I think as teachers, we don't take advantage of this tool as much as we should. And just even pointing it out to students and how it works is going to be a total game changer.
Right, because I love that we can empower students with this. They have total control over how they use it, so that they can feel really comfortable when they get ready to present in front of their classmates, because no one wants to be embarrassed, no one wants to mess up, and especially our students. Their peers are their biggest supporters, or it could be an incident where they're really uncomfortable and they don't want to feel ashamed in front of their peers. So it's really a great tool that we can use. And it's free.
Yeah, we all love free things, but I think it's that vulnerability piece that presenter coach really even as adults, we don't like being vulnerable, but just to have those pieces in place to help you, they can, students can go off into a quiet workspace, get that feedback, boost that confidence, and then away they go.
Totally agree. And so for you to know, Presenter Coach is available, as we said, in PowerPoint. It's coming to Teams, but it's available in all the platforms where you can find PowerPoint. What I want you to know, though, is that the web version of PowerPoint has the most features, and that's where the newest features of the body language has come, and also where that repetitive language, all of that's available in the web version. It's also available in PowerPoint for Windows, Android, our Mac, and our iPads, because we know that a lot of students use iPads at school, so it's available on the iPad app for PowerPoint. You won't get all of the features. You may just get some of those features about your monotone, your speed, and inclusivity, but it's still there. It's still great feedback. So how do we set up Presenter Coach? As I said, it is built in and it is really easy to set up. If you have an Office account, you just go to office.com, you open a presentation that you have, and then you're going to click on the slideshow tab, and then we're going to select, and I have it marked here, Rehearse with Coach. And if you really wanted to give you that real-time feedback on your body language, and especially now, because some of us are still in hybrid situations where we may have students joining our classes from home, or we may be face-to-face. This is where that body language feature is important, because it can give you information about how close you are to your camera, if you're too close, you're too far, and it will give you that real-time feedback. So we're getting ready to practice in just a minute, but I want to demonstrate and then we will practice this. So are you ready to explore? All right, so I'm going to come out of this. I am going to go up. My presentation is already in Office 365. As you see, I'm not signed in, and it still works without me being signed into this account. I have one here that I'm signed in to my school account, but I just want you all to see the difference. So as we said, we're going to select Rehearse with Coach, and we have to remember to select body language. So we're going to do that, and I'm going to go back and select Rehearse with Coach. And let me know if you are still with me. As we said, it will give you the option to start rehearsing. I'm going to show real-time feedback, and I'm not sure why it hasn't lit up, so I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if it's because I'm sharing. Let's see, because that should light up. Oh my goodness.
That's okay, Felisa. We all know technology. It's always when you want to use it that maybe we'll just remind people, like, if you are doing Presenter Coach, it's okay to pause this recording. Make sure that you're getting office.com. I've put the link in the chat there. You can get through and all the applications of Microsoft are in there. Just look for the orange one, PowerPoint. To try out Presenter Coach, you could be doing it as you're creating a new PowerPoint, or you can have one already in, like Felisa has, like already done up for you.
Right.
But just make sure, especially if you're doing Presenter Coach with students, that they are logging in with their school accounts. Very, very important. So anytime your students are doing it, always kind of pause, make sure they're all logged in there with their school accounts.
You all know this technology. I have no idea what is going on, why it is not allowing me to rehearse. Oh, you know what? I'll tell you why. I know exactly what's going on. I can't have my Teams camera running, so I'm not going to do the body language. I'll take that off. But if you are not, because I'm sharing my screen, you have to always figure out what's going on. I'm sharing my Teams camera and I can't have the camera on and present live or rehearse with coach. So let's try this again. We're gonna just do rehearse with coach and I won't put the body language on. There we go. So for those of you that were watching, just rewind this part, but if you're not sharing your screen, you will be able to use that body language feature and you can start rehearsing. So we're going to just take a moment, and this is the time for you to join in, and you can practice with me if you have an Office 365 account, or even the link that we shared to this presentation. You can just use that to follow along and we can practice. I'm going to demonstrate and then you'll be able to practice. So let's go ahead and start rehearsing. So the first thing I'm going to do is just read from the slide. Benefits of Presenter Coach. Helps to reduce stress and anxiety while presenting. Great for everyone. And you see it's giving me originality. Try to avoid reading the slides, summarize your key points. Okay, I'll do that. Great for everyone. Students, teachers, professionals. Improves presentation skills. Empowers you to be more confident. It tells me again to try not to read the slides. I'm going to go on to another slide. And you guys know this. I know this is so amazing. Here is that inclusiveness. It gives me a suggestion for something other than you guys. So what if I said it again, it's going to give me something about too many filler words like This is basically a presentation all about Presenter Coach. It will tell me if I'm talking too fast. It will also tell me if I'm using a lot of filler words, grammar, use of sensitive language, body language, repetitive language, pronunciation. It tells me all of this. I'm hoping it picks this up, that I'm going too fast. It still hasn't picked it up, but it will normally tell your students, and it will, in the feedback summary report, it should tell me that I'm going too fast. I'm going to keep going because I want you to know some of these items that it picks up. Once again, it's picking up the This is really awesome. I mean, like, awesome. Don't you guys think it's awesome?
I think it's awesome, Felisa. I'm just watching you and I was like, this is brilliant. This is brilliant. If only, I mean, I need to practice more Presenter Coach, but I think the next level Presenter Coach was maybe adding some compliments in there when you're doing a really good job. But
Absolutely.
I love that feedback. I love that it reminds students not to even just read directly off the slides, like to add their personal flair. And I love that. Yes. If you keep doing it, it's going to keep reminding you too.
Absolutely. And then it will also, if a student mispronounces, and I'm going to just, let's try to say, let me see, presenter. Oh, it's telling me I'm off to a good start, but I don't think I pronounced that right. Presenting. I'm trying to get it to maybe PowerPoint, let's see. Emily, what's something that I can pronounce? I'm trying not to mispronounce something. Let's see, what can we mispronounce? Let's see. Rehearsal. It's not picking it up for me, but we're going to go ahead and go to this summary report because I really want you all to see how this works. And to get to our summary report, all we do is select exit. And once I select exit, This is the real-time report that it gives, and we're going to go through this report. It will tell our students the total time that we spent rehearsing this. I spent a total of 3 minutes and 6 seconds, and I rehearsed 8 slides. Also, it gives me every single filler word that I used. I used huh, I mean, and like. And it gives a suggestion. It offers more suggestions to sound more polished and confident. Avoid using these filler words. And then your students can learn more here. So it will give them some suggestions on how to deliver with their pace. So that's good to know. And one thing I hate, I shouldn't have done that. So we're going to, the reason I shouldn't have done that, and let me go to another one that I have. Because once you exit out, it doesn't save. That is the only downfall. Your summary report does not save for you. So you have to just keep that in mind. So when you close it, one thing that I suggest for students is have them take a screenshot of the summary report, and you can even have them share that with you as a way for you to know as their teacher how you can support them with their presentation skills or help them work on some of these things that presenter coach, the summary report, identified as areas that they may need to work on. It also tells me repetitive language. I was trying to say awesome over and over for it to pick it up, but it clearly didn't capture that. It did get this inclusiveness that I was saying, you guys, or if you say a policeman or a policewoman, it may pick that up. Or if you say a stewardess or a flight attendant, it's going to pick up those words that aren't really appropriate or exclude some people. So that's one thing to consider as we're presenting. It also,
sorry, yes. We're just talking, and Cammy there just loves how it's for filler words, but it's basically like your kind of like your report card. Like it is so much information, and to have such a concise and detailed summary after you've done it. And I would certainly encourage my students to kind of make a series of screenshots. I'd love to see how they improve. You can you could drop it in a new PowerPoint presentation, have maybe a series of 3 slides, like where your starting point was the presentation and where you ended up. Because with my students, I love, I'm sure any students, but it's about that learning journey and that progress. And Absolutely. Even if they reduce their filler words by 50%, I mean, that's a big improvement.
That is huge. And that's a good idea to watch their journey, their progression over time. And it's a good way for them to see how they've grown from from now to the end of the school year. So that's a great idea, Emma. And I would love to hear any other ideas for our educators, how you think you can use this summary report for your students. And the best part about it is customized and tailored to each individual student. It gives you your report based on how you did. And it also gives you your average pace and your pronunciation. And if I had mispronounced a word, it didn't pick up the words that I was trying to mispronounce, but if it had picked it up, it would have had the word, it would have had the pronunciation for me, and it would also have the ability to read it aloud. So as a student, this helps me if I can hear how the word is pronounced, and then I can begin to pronounce it correctly. One thing that I want you to note, if you see here that it's based really on American English, but they are going to start adding more languages so that it's more inclusive. But this is a new feature rolling out, so just keep that in mind and keep checking back. It also, for those students that may be shy and speak low, it gives them suggestions for how to increase their pitch and just hone in on those important concepts in their presentation. And of course, you all noticed I read a lot from the slides, and it told me to avoid that. If I was able to use my camera, and I guess I could have turned the camera off in Teams, and then you would have seen that it would have told me that I'm either too close to the camera or too far back, and it gives you the right place and how you look to someone on the end of at the end of the camera, on the other side of the camera. So this is great for those students who may be home and have to do a virtual presentation for their class. This is good information too. So Emma, I would love to hear thoughts from our educator friends in the chat. How are they thinking that they can use this either with their students or personally?
Well, Felisa, first of all, they're thinking, wow, I'm going to use this. This is amazing. Second, Cami had a really great maybe suggestion just in connection with kind of documenting that learning and making learning visible. But you could include those screenshots in students' portfolios.
Oh, yes.
They could certainly like submit them, or they can, even if you're doing things virtually, like students can be kind of dropping their reports, you know, putting their screenshots in the chats. And I just love documenting, like having that concrete evidence, because, you know, for years, Felisa, we ask, you know, students for feedback or that peer feedback. And even though peer feedback is so powerful, it's not going to be nearly as detailed as a report like this. So yeah, portfolio and just kind of documenting that learning is huge. And that's kind of what we're getting out of the chat right now.
Perfect. So Emma, right now, I would like, if our audience didn't get a chance to practice, I would like to, I'm going to go right back to this. I would like for everyone just to take like 2 or 3 minutes just to practice with Presenter Coach, because I really want everyone to be comfortable and being able to go back and introduce this to your students and then have your students begin to use this. So if the slide that we've shared, the presentation that we've shared, you can go ahead and just select Rehearse with Coach. And if you have a camera capable device, go ahead and select that body language. And we'll take like 1 or 2 minutes just for you to practice, go through and get your summary. And then I would love to hear feedback on that as well.
Awesome. So we're giving, this is 2 minutes of work time. We want you to try it out. I'm available in the chat if you have any questions. All right, maybe we'll get the 10-second warning to finish off practicing with Presenter Coach. Feel free to let us know in the chat how it went. What did you like? What was kind of maybe your biggest area success, or maybe your area to work on? Let us know.
I can't wait to hear this feedback. So this is just our own built-in speaker coach, really, that we can take anywhere we go, everywhere we go.
I have a feeling, I remember back when I was in school, I'm sure my filler words, even right there, I had a filler word, but the word like and very overused. I've been working really hard to try and avoid them, but it's very challenging.
It really is, because and then you have to find yourself pausing when you're getting ready to say that. And it's good just to see that on paper, what you need to work on, this feedback that we need to work on. But it forces you to kind of be more present in what you're saying and listening to yourself speak. So it's a great resource. And then we don't realize some of the words that we may use over and over. I love the repetitive feature that it will identify that, because over time, this can become distracting for our audience, and we don't realize that things that we are so used to saying that we don't even hear ourselves saying those, it could become a distraction for our audience. And this is a way to help you get beyond those things that we typically fall into what's easy for us.
I was going to say, Felicia, that's such a great point. I'm sure we don't even realize our filler words are little things that we're doing. So presenter coaches really just to make us aware of little things when we're presenting.
Absolutely. All right. So audience, did we have anything to share, any thoughts before we move on?
I think they're all busy practicing presenter coach and are blown away by the detailed summer reports that we're getting.
Okay.
There's currently no feedback, but just let us know. Just you can let us know in the chat. We'd love to know how you're doing practicing it.
Sounds great. All right. So we talked about this summary report and how it can be utilized. All you do is select exit from the presenter coach screen, and then it gives you our summary report. We've all had a chance to go over that. As we said, we can go through this, figure out what we need to work on, and then we can always rehearse again. So it's such a great tool that we can use for this, and the ideas that you provided for being able to have students take these multiple screenshots and see their growth over time really is a great way to have students at the end of the year see their progress, and even share this with parents of how their student has grown over time. All right, so some of the tips for using Presenter Coach with our students or even with yourself, these are things just for us to remember. That with Presenter Coach, you're going to want to make sure that you have a device that has a microphone and a video, because you're going to want to provide those real-time feedback on how you're using your hands, and even if you're covering your face, if you're too close to the camera. So make sure that that's an option for your students. And I would also recommend that you have your students practice in a quiet area, either in the classroom. If they're at home, they need to find a quiet area at home. But using headphones is also another option. If they can't be in a quiet place, the headphones will kind of block out some of that noise. So that's a great way that it can pick up on what your student is actually saying and won't hear all of the background noise. Also, even if our students are working in groups, Presenter Coach works best when it's picking up one speaker at a time. It's hard for it to capture if two students are trying to speak or present together. It's going to be difficult for it to determine which student is saying what, so it's best for them to practice separately. But as we've said, in one of our best practices is having students take those screenshots of their summary report and then sharing that out for additional support if needed. And I would love at this time, Emma, to hear if we have any other suggestions on how our students can utilize this tool. So this will be a great time for us to pause here and just to hear, or even ways that our educator friends are thinking about using this tool with their students in class.
Yeah, I mean, you can certainly quantify some numbers. Not that it all comes down to numbers, but you could certainly, I know in my assessment book, I would maybe make some notes of where they're at with their presentations. And over the year, I know I always like to kind of do a starting point in the start of the year, like a September, October. And then I would love to see, using tools like this, the Presenter Coach, like where we end up in May and June. So I would definitely kind of mark down or a screenshot of the starting point and then see how things progress over the school year.
Perfect. All right, so let's keep moving. So here are some additional resources that we have provided for you. A couple of these are just some how-to guides on rehearsing with Presenter Coach and some suggestions, and they just take you out to the Microsoft site with suggestions for using it. Other suggestions are really some videos, really, I think these may be some support videos, YouTube videos, if you forget how we were able to do some of that. So this will walk you through getting through Presenter Coach as well. And this third video is about the new features of the body language and how you can utilize that in your presentations. So this is a great way for you to practice as well. All right. So once again, I'm going to show you, now that I'm at this screen, I'm going to show you the Educator Center, because this is where we're going to come to redeem our code if you weren't sure of where that was. I also want to show you, look, you're going to get a little extra tonight, because Presenter Coach is so easy to use and we really didn't have to set it up. I want to show you another feature that you may not necessarily know that's in PowerPoint, but it's in PowerPoint for the web. Did you know that students can actually join your presentations, your PowerPoint presentation? Emma, did you know that?
Amazing, amazing, amazing.
All right, so Present Live is a way that students can actually join our presentations, even if they're in class, and they can see our presentations on their device. If they join our PowerPoint presentation, and they can give us real-time feedback. So we can take a moment to try this too, just because we have a little time left. I just want to show you this. I always love giving a little extra. So let's do Present Live. And this is still, I'm in PowerPoint on the web, and then when I go to present my presentation, I come over here to Present Live. Now you have to be logged into your Office 365 account. And this is PowerPoint on the web. And when I present live, it gives me, just like in some of the other tools that we use, it's going to give me a code that my students can use to join my presentation, and where they can follow along with the transcripts and all of this. And it should give me a QR code that my student, and here we go. It gives you a link or a QR code that your students can join your presentation. And then it will tell you how many students have joined your presentation. And the great thing about this is that the students can have, it will automatically be transcribed for them. As you're speaking, the students receive live transcriptions on their device or whatever, whether they're using a laptop, a phone, or an iPad. The presentation will end up on the student's device, and then they can have the transcription of what you're saying in their own language. So this is a great way to really build community with PowerPoint. It's also a great way for your students to give you feedback. If you are moving too fast in your presentation, they can follow along. So I just wanted to share an extra tidbit, because I think it's always important just to leave a little extra nuggets. And when you can pause it, or you can end the session. And when you end your session, it will give you real-time feedback on that session too. So this is a great way for students to engage with each other and with their presentations. So that was Present Live with PowerPoint as well.
I was going to say, Felicia, we all love bonus tidbits. So thank you for sharing. There is so many, and I can't stress this, that like I'm a big PowerPoint user. I like to make art and all different things with PowerPoint. But that, the web-based version in particular, you know what, and just highlighting maybe, Felicia, that web-based version you can use from any device, anywhere,
absolutely,
anytime. Like, could students even use this like on a phone, on an iPad?
Yes, they can. As long as you can get to the web, whether it's Chrome, whether it's Edge, you can use Microsoft PowerPoint on the web. Anywhere. So students have access. As long as they have connection, they have access. And that's the great thing about it. And this is where we want them to be, because this is where all of the magic happens really right now in PowerPoint on the web, because there's so many cool features that are there.
No, that's incredible. Like I even think, a student, maybe students getting a ride to school and it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to go over my presentation one more time. Like you could open that on the device, run through it, get that, last minute kind of report, little tips before you dive into it. So you can be doing it on the go, which is great. It's great for schools. It's even great for professionals. It's perfect.
Absolutely. And so this brings us, I think we are close to the end on this. Let's see. That is it. Unless we have any questions from the audience, I thank you all so much for joining us today. If you're watching this on a recording, thank you for joining us. Emma, do we have any questions? We can take those right now.
Yeah, I'm just going to let everyone know that I'm going to drop this link in the chat. We absolutely love your feedback. So I dropped a link in there. It's the cc.page/feedback. We love your thoughts on this presentation. We always like to customize our Pro-D to best fit your needs as an educator. You're also welcome to drop kind of any new learnings with the presenter coach in there. I know it's definitely going to be a tool that I will be using, and just stressing, like, it's there. It's there. You don't have to install. You don't have to do anything fancy. It is free. It is built into every PowerPoint, which is, like, I've used the word amazing a lot. My report's going to tell me that. But just knowing that it's there, it's accessible at all time. And I think most classrooms do Microsoft PowerPoint in there, but just those little tools and features to take those presentations to the next level. And maybe Felisa, what with you and your students, what do you think your students kind of take away the most out of the reports? Does it vary? Do you think your students tend to focus more on like the filler words or the pacing? I know my students always like to kind of joke and make fun of themselves, but kind of what your takeaways are.
So you're absolutely right. My students focus a lot on those filler words because it is just so comfortable, things that we say all the time. So I have them really focus on that, and then focusing on that originality piece, because a lot of them want to just get up there and read the slides. So we're trying to work with them on that. But what I love most about this is that every student has their own individual coach with them at all times that can support them. So this frees me up to be able to work with other students one-on-one if I need to, knowing that my students are still getting support with their presentation skills, because we know that this is still a part of those 4 C's, that communication, being able to effectively communicate, whether it's written or oral communication. So this is a great way that we can support our students with those skills. And
absolutely. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Felisa.
I was going to say, once again, it is built in there. We as educators, we don't want to have to do too much and to make something available for our students. We want those things that are already there for us that our students can just engage with if they need to. And Present Coach is one of those tools that is just there and ready for our students to use.
Yeah, and something I'm just, as you know, we've been talking, something kind of sparked my kind of ideas is I would actually include Presenter Coach as a part of my criteria. I make criteria and rubrics for all different projects and assignments that we do, and I would certainly make the Presenter Coach in PowerPoint a required criteria for presentation. Like, you must run through at least one time, or you can set your parameters of it, but I would certainly have students do that as part of their criteria for their projects and assignments.
Oh, that's a great idea. That is absolutely great. And Emma, if we don't have any other questions, and I am here to answer any questions that we may have, any suggestions or thoughts, I just want to thank everyone for joining us today.